What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another TheBigGeee video. Over my years of playing Rust, I've noticed a tool in Rust that was once useless and only good for thumbnail clicks. Well, in the past few years and several updates, this tool is soon becoming the most powerful tool in Rust. If you haven't noticed by my own use of this tool in the thumbnail, this is the RF transmitter. This single click of a button can do a range of amazing things, some very simple like opening a door or turning on a light in the base. But now the RF receiver can turn on a Tesla coil, send a message to your homies that are out for dinner with their girl while you're out being a Chad and Rust, and let them know that you're being raided, to even now blowing up your neighbor's base harder than Will Smith slapped Chris Rock and revealing the goods inside with a single click of a button. Now let me show you just how simple this device is to use. Hey guys, so here we are. I've just jumped on a build server and I've set up a little base here to just go through some of the basics on how to use a transmitter. So what you're going to need to start off with is obviously some power. You will need a receiver in order for all these mechanics to work. But once you have those, it's pretty simple from there. So what you want to do is you want to run power straight into the receiver. You want to set a frequency by pressing E on the receiver. And as you can see here, I've set up a nice little code. You press set, bring out your transmitter, hold right click. You can then set a different frequency. So you want to make sure the frequency of your receiver and your transmitter are the exact same. Otherwise it will not work because you're sending that code to the receiver in order for the power to pass through the receiver. So you want to make sure that it's set to the same frequency or code. Once you've done that, you can walk over to your receiver, press the button, and you can hear it making some noise. This means that there is power being processed through it, which means you can now plug anything else into it in order for the power to go through. So let's start off with a simple light. I've set up a few lights here. Let's run this to a simple light here. In order for this process to work, there we go. Bring out my button. Now if I just click the button, off, on, pretty cool. You can use this button to set up timers and stuff. I'll explain that soon in a minute. But this process can be used for multiple things, such as a Tesla coil. I've got a Tesla coil down here as well. Power in, straight into it. Tesla coil on, power going out. Off, on, same process. Let's do this now with an igniter. This is a cool little way to turn on your furnaces by running power straight into an igniter. Power on. So as long as you have wood in these furnaces, they will turn on. I have no wood in this one, but the fireplace turned on, which was good. It does work for furnaces as well. So we can now remove that, which is pretty cool. You can now run the receiver power to a door controller. I've linked this door controller up to this door, so long as I got power into it now. So as long as I press this button and allow power to pass through, the door will open. Close, open. You guys get the drill. Pretty cool. As I mentioned earlier, guys, if you've seen in the intro, that you can actually use this to send messages to your homies by setting up this smart alarm. Now, the smart alarm, you will need the Rust Plus app to work. Once you've done that and set up the Rust Plus app for it to work, you can then set a message. Once you've set the message, pull out the RF transmitter if you're getting raided or want to send a message to your homies, for whatever reason. Click the button. It will then start sending this message to their mobile phones and let them know that you're being raided or whatever message you want to send to them. Now, for a bit more in an advanced tutorial, what we're going to do, guys, is actually run this receiver to a blocker. Now, you're probably wondering why you want to send it to a blocker and what does it actually do? Well, it can be a very useful tool to block power going through to close doors. Now, I've done a lot of trap bases in my day, as you can probably see going through my videos. And this is one of the biggest methods that I use in order to trap people, leave them in there, chat to people and have good interactions, or you can use this to do whatever you want to do with power and turning it off and on. So what you want to do is run power into a blocker and blocker into a doorway or even a light switch or whatever you want it to go to. Okay, so that means power is running through here perfectly. There's nothing blocking it. Now the minute I press the button, it will block the power going through because I'm now blocking the pass through by allowing power to run into here. And then what that does is block the power to go out the top here, which then opens the door. So by a simple click of a button, I'm going to block the power going through, which then turns off the switch, the door controller, and closes the door. Opens the door, closes the door. Now it's the opposite of what we were doing before by just running the receiver to the door. We're now using it the other way around by using the receiver to now close the door, which is another cool way of doing that. Now, We can also set this up to a timer. So if in case you guys, let's say that someone's here, they've walked in here and you've trapped them, but you don't want to hold down the button for a long period of time, you can set up a timer. Now, a timer is another useful tool that I've used many times over my trap basing career. So what you want to do is run power directly into a timer, and that timer output into the blocker, which means once this is activated, this will stay on for a certain amount of time, which then will block the power coming through there, which means it'll keep this door closed for however long you want it to be closed for. Let me show you. Now, we've got the receiver here. I want to run the receiver to toggle the timer on. Okay? So now if I press the transmitter, it will be received. Then the power will run through to then toggle the timer on, which will then block the power going through the blocker for a certain amount of time. This can be adjusted however you like by holding E on your timer, going down to set timer, and you can change this to 5, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, even up to 99, as much as you want. It will literally permanently stay on, which means the door will permanently close until you are ready to open it up by removing the power. We're going to do this as 5 seconds just as a tutorial. I'm going to set duration. Now what this means is if I press this button for 5 seconds, this door will now remain shut. See? And that is how you use the blocker to close the door. If you want to open the door for a certain amount of seconds, you can also do the same thing, but just without a blocker. So you can run the power straight from the timer, straight to the door. Let me remove this. Straight to the door. So now we have the switch, the timer is off, the timer is off. And once we activate the timer, it'll allow power to pass through, which will then open the door. This door will stay open for 5 seconds, like before, and then close. This process can be used in multiple different ways, but that is the basics on how an RF receiver works. Now, one of the biggest and newest updates recently with the RF transmitter is that you can now sync them to C4s. This has been a long time coming, and I'm super happy for that. So thank you, Rust. Really approve. That is awesome. So now what you can do is grab yourself some C4. I've already got some synced up here to my code. If you hover over it, you can see my code there. But what that means is, let me just create one real quick and show you how it's done. You want to get yourself a C4. You want to enable RF. You can disable it. You can enable it, whichever one you want to do. But then you can set a frequency. Now, once you've set your frequency, like so, you can pull out your C4. You can throw your C4. You can hear the beeping noise. It is not going to blow up as long as that symbol below is there. You can hear them beeping. Once that final beeping's happened, they are all synced up and ready to go. So that last beep, there's no more noise coming out of the C4, which means they're set and armed and ready to go. So the minute I press this button, all 4 C4 will be activated and will blow up at the exact same time. This is a really good way to remove a wall, remove a base, or if you're really tricky enough and want to have a bit of fun with it, throw some of these on some mini copters, wait for someone to take off and detonate it when they're in midair for some free loot. I didn't tell you that, guys, so don't harass me for it. Just a little simple tip in case you guys wanted to do some trap bases. But that is it. But that'll be the end of the video, guys. If you guys liked the video, make sure to like, comment, and goddamn subscribe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. If you have any comments, feel free to comment down below, and I'm happy to help any way I can. Much love. Big G out.